Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Good Evening KU. My name's Andrew.
And I'm Tom.
And this week we've had a lot of interesting stuff happen, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, this week has been pretty interesting with the weather changes to a lot of things going around campus. But we'll start off with, how was your weekend?
My weekend was actually pretty good. It was pretty boring. I didn't do anything too interesting. Watched a lot of football, But yeah, nothing too crazy.
Yeah, I watched the game on Saturday. It was a little disappointing. People were leaving this weekend as a lot of my roommates were away. But the weekend was still pretty good overall.
Yeah, over the weekend we had a KU soccer game on Friday. Our producer Carolyn Soro covered the KU soccer match last weekend, and it turned out to be a pretty good game despite the cold weather.
This is Caroline Soro reporting live from Rock Chalk Park, where your number 10 Jayhawks women's soccer team just knocked off the number 8 ranked Oklahoma State women's soccer team. It was a very defensive game and lots of penalties were involved, as the only score of the game was scored on a penalty kick by Jayhawk Sari Holland at the end of the first half. Jayhawk goalie Sarah Peters kept the Cowgirls out of the goal for the entirety of both halves with very impressive defensive stops. This game was the first of a 2-game homestand that the Jayhawks will have here at Rock Chalk Park, the second being against number 6 ranked TCU on Thursday, October 22nd at 7 p.m.
Head coach Mark Francis thought that having fans at the stadium played a big part in the Jayhawks' victory.
Yeah, I wish we were 5-0, but we'll take 4-1. It's nice to be back home. It's nice to have fans here. It was great to see people come out. Obviously, the first game we didn't have any fans. It doesn't get any easier, but I think bouncing back from the game last week, as disappointing as that was, I thought this gives you a lot of confidence to perform and battle the way we did today. And hopefully we'll carry that momentum into next Thursday. It's a Thursday game, but TCU again. All the games in the Big 12 are tough, but TCU coming here, we get to be at home, which is nice.
Speaking of KU sports, did you hear about the 2 KU players that decided to opt out of their seasons?
I did, yeah. So first we got Sylvia DeSouza opting out due to personal reasons, not coming back. And then another thing recently, just heard Puka Williams, the running back for Kansas, opting out due to health conditions of his mom back in Louisiana.
Yeah, Puka Williams, junior running back for the team. He's been leading the team in rushing yards for the past few seasons. He's going to be very sorely missed for the remainder of our season. And then Sylvia DeSouza, you might remember last season with the K-State incident that surrounded a lot of controversy, but hopefully we get to see them come back and rep the Jayhawks and get to see him back on the court or field.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for him not to play against Iowa State, but hopefully we can do our best.
Yeah. So the political field has gotten pretty heated recently. Wouldn't you agree?
There has been definitely a lot of stuff going on with politics. President Trump campaigning in Arizona, all these battleground states that he's trying to win. He recently bashed Anthony Fauci, saying that he was disastrous and he wasn't needed for the virus.
Yeah, it's sort of this weird situation where they're starting to politicize science again. And this isn't the first time that it's kind of happened, I know. Climate change has kind of been put in the same sort of situation where it's like this scientific fact that everyone agrees with and kind of acknowledges, but at the same time they're all like, we're just going to deny it and not agree with it.
Yeah, he's going to his rallies maskless. There are temperature checks, but people aren't required to wear their mask through the whole rally, and he's just not promoting the fact of wearing a mask.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see how the next few weeks play out.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, that's all we have for right now. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll have Reese and Ciro with sports.
I'm Reese, and I'm joined by my partner Ciro here, and we're going to talk about some sports today. We're going to do a little bit of college football and some NFL. Let's start from the college ranks. Close to our hearts, Puka. He's opted out for the season, and he's going to head home to be with his mother, who's not in the best condition. What do you thought? How is Kansas going to move forward without Puka?
Well, first off, obviously, I hope the best for Puka and his mother, and for his health, her health, and his health. But the thing is, it's going to be interesting now that we have a team that obviously we're building to go into a Les Miles style football team, which is smash mouth football, just running the ball, which we'll be seeing with Velton Gardner, who has actually been playing very well for us this year. And the other guy, who's his name?
Daniel Highshaw, freshman. He's going to get a lot of the load now. He wasn't exactly seeing a lot of playing time, but with this Puka opt-out, Daniel Highshaw's the number 2 running back. Velton, of course, is going to get a ton of action, but Daniel Highshaw's going to have to prove what he's got now, or he has no other choice because this team needs him if they're going to get off the snide and get that first win of the season, which everybody around KU wants. Just imagine this campus if KU could win a couple games this year.
Just rally to one win. It would be really nice to see that because Puka, not only being one of our best players, is the heart and soul of our team, of that football team for the past 2, now 3rd season since he's been here. So it's just going to be interesting to see how the team will recover to rally for our first win in this season.
Certainly. Let's hope we can beat K-State this weekend, too.
Exactly.
But let's move on to the NFL. We had some good games. Of course, we had 2 Monday Night Football games again this week, but we also had some great games on Sunday. Most notably, maybe, was the Texans and Titans in that shootout, which Ryan Tannehill very quietly is making an MVP case this season.
Ryan Tannehill has actually, probably at this point, I think he's top 5 quarterback, and at the very least, he's number 5 in this league. He has shown that since he has become the starter for Tennessee since last season, he has gone 12-3. The only other quarterback to do that is Patrick Mahomes, the reigning MVP of the NFL. Not reigning, but past reigning, because Lamar Jackson was. But the thing is that he actually has almost identical stats and is even better in certain categories than Patrick Mahomes is right now. And he has shown that he's not only able to just put up good stats because he has a great team around him and a bunch of weapons to cater to, he's able to show that he can be clutch.
Of course.
Week after week, when people know Derrick Henry is going to run the ball, they hit him with the play action, and he's making the players around him better, which is the number 1 sign of a great quarterback.
And when Derrick Henry has a quarterback playing with him, they are tough to beat. Derrick Henry ran for over 200 yards on Sunday. That's just tough. But no, on to another great game. Great game at the end, let me rephrase that. It wasn't a great game throughout. But Lamar Jackson and the Ravens continue to get wins, not very prettily, but they took down the Eagles and moved to 5-1 on the year.
So that's what happens with great football teams. Great football teams always find a way to win, no matter how gritty or how tough it may seem. It might be an ugly performance, but even when their best players, in this case, Lamar Jackson, throwing for under 60% completion rate, and also throwing for under 200 yards. Even when he's playing one of the ugliest games of his career, of the season as well, they still win. Because that's what teams that are in contention of a Super Bowl championship do. They're able to make it always happen, even
and it was
when
nice
it's
to
the
see.
worst.
It was nice to see Lamar run the ball again after he 3 rush attempts against Cincinnati. It was great to see him out there running the ball again. If they're going to do anything this season in the playoffs, obviously they're going to be in the playoffs. They're Baltimore. John Harbaugh is one of the best coaches in football.
100%.
But if they're going to do anything once January rolls around, Lamar Jackson has to be able to run the ball effectively, and they're going to have to pass the ball effectively.
That's how you win in December. You run the football.
Clean cut. The Packers, the Buccaneers. Tampa Bay. What about Tampa Bay? I mean, the Packers 10-0 in the first quarter. All the momentum, everything was going their way. Had the chance to make it 17-0. And the pick 6 from Rodgers to Jamal Dean. It's like the Packers packed it up right there and headed back to Green Bay. Like they had no interest from that point on.
And it's crazy because everyone's been piping up Aaron Rodgers for having a great start to the season, one of the best starts of his career.
The best start in NFL history through 4 games.
And it's insane to see how they fell apart, where the Bucs offense didn't show up. Mike Evans didn't show up. Chris Godwin didn't show up. Tom Brady played well, but he played boringly well, where he did what he had to do. They ran the ball with Ronald Jones. Rob Gronkowski played and had his first touchdown since September 2018. He's back. The 6'7" behemoth is moving around the field like a queen on a chessboard. And it's just so interesting to see how this team just, when you think it's going to be a tight matchup, they blow the other team out of the water. We've seen them do it before this year.
Huge. It was a huge win after they fell to Chicago on Thursday Night Football last week. Now onto the Monday night slate. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs went in and won I guess you could call it pretty for the Chiefs. It was a lot of running, which the Chiefs aren't known for, but they got the ball to Clyde a lot, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and let him work. But 2 straight games like that from the Bills, that's worrisome. The Bills aren't looking good. Their offense is a mess now other than Stephon Diggs. Josh Allen's, after those great first 4 games, he's regressing out of this world.
I think it comes down to young team, you're hot, and there's maybe not enough veteran presence in that team. So yeah, when you're hot, you need those old heads on the team in the locker room to make sure everyone keeps that fire going, because one loss, like the one a week ago, can be seen and still affected. As well, you know, there's a bunch of COVID stuff going on, so a lot of teams are being affected severely by the limit of practices.
Oh, that's a great point. That's a great point. It looked like a Buffalo game, though. A little sleety rain coming down, but the Chiefs were just the better team. Well, it was a pretty hyped up matchup. It wasn't a great matchup. Then the actual Monday Night Football game, Kyler Murray, 7-0 at AT&T Stadium. Man, that's like the Cowboys should have gotten him somehow. I mean, they may never lose a home game if they would have had Kyler Murray. I mean, he just does not lose at AT&T Field.
I know, it's insane. That was a wild game to think about due to the fact that you thought the Dallas Cowboys weren't going to be effective. You think there was just going to be a little drop-off from Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle, being a former Pro Bowler, and it wasn't there. Was it his fault? No, the offensive line did not look like the Dallas Cowboys offensive line that we've known, like grown to know. But the thing is, it's insane to think about how Ezekiel Elliott, their best player, did not show up. He only had 49 yards and 2 fumbles. You saw CeeDee Lamb played well, but the other receivers, nothing. You had a defense that just gave up play after play after play. And this is no discredit to Kyler Murray, who is a fantastic football player and is probably going to be one of the better ones in the next 10 years. But for the next 10 years. But they just sucked. The Dallas Cowboys. They weren't America's team.
And it's not just this week. They sucked all season. They could very realistically be winless right now.
100%.
They have looked terrible. If the Falcons hadn't melted down in the last 5 minutes, and if the Giants could have just pulled it out, if they wouldn't have Gianted it. But no, the Cowboys have not looked good this year. And
is it Mike McCarthy?
It might be. Mike McCarthy's way behind the times still. Thought he might have caught up, but he's still way behind the times. It doesn't matter. But no, if they're going to go in, if they're going to do anything this season, they might make the playoffs at like 5-11. It's a sad AFC or NFC East. If they're going to do anything, Zeke has to pick it up. His fumble rate is out of the world this year. It feels like he's fumbling 2-3 times a game at this rate.
This is a man who's a top 3 running back in the NFL. You should not be fumbling ball. You should never. If you're that great of an athlete, take care of the ball.
And he's paid like a top 1 running back. Before we go, the last thing we have to say, Tua, he's in now. It's Tua time. Fitzpatrick to the bench. That's going to be exciting to see. But that's all we have for sports today. We'll see you after the break.
Good luck.
Where you go to college makes a statement about you. This place will become a part of you, your identity for life. The University of Kansas. A great place to be you.
Welcome back. I'm Annika.
And I'm Caroline, and we're here with your weekly news update.
Starting off with a global issue, controversy has recently emerged in Finland after the Prime Minister appeared in a photo shoot for a lifestyle magazine wearing a blazer and no shirt. Sanna Marin, the Prime Minister of Finland, is the world's youngest Prime Minister and one of only 20 women currently in the leading position of power in a country.
According to CNN, the backlash on the photo shoot claims that it was inappropriate for a politician to pose with no shirt on, and that the timing of the photo shoot was inappropriate as the country is still dealing with the effects of the coronavirus outbreak.
As far as national news goes, it appears as though Democratic candidate Joe Biden has a very narrow lead over President Trump in the polls with the presidential election right around the corner.
According to the USA Today, Biden is up in Florida, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, while President Trump is up in Texas. Because national polls have a tendency to be unpredictable in the long run, it will definitely be interesting to see if these results stay true over the next few weeks.
Now bringing it back to Lawrence, another resident has unfortunately passed away due to complications from COVID-19, according to the Douglas County Health Department. Adding to this, KU has just confirmed 12 more cases on campus, bringing the total to 1,083, with the total number of people in campus quarantine dropping from 94 to 84. Things are looking up though, as the positive testing rate has dropped 3% since last Wednesday.
With the KU men's basketball season beginning in late November, there has been speculation about who the starters will be. An article from the University Daily Kansan predicted that senior Marcus Garrett, freshman Bryce Thompson, junior Ochai Agbaji, junior David McCormick, and redshirt freshman Jalen Wilson might make up Kansas's starting five this year.
I absolutely cannot wait to watch KU basketball in a few weeks.
Oh my gosh, I know. I feel like we totally got robbed last season due to COVID.
100%. Well, that's all the time we have today for the news, so stay tuned after the break from a weather update from Aiden.
Hello and welcome back to Good Evening KU. I'm Adrian Campa here with your weather forecast. And we do have some headlines over the next 7 days. We're going to have a roller coaster weather pattern out there. So we're going to start warming up midweek, but then another huge cold blast, even stronger than the one we saw this past weekend. And with that, we'll have some thunderstorm chances and even some snow chances coming back into the area. Now, right now we're seeing pretty cloudy conditions out there with the temperature of 47 degrees, and our winds are from the south-southwest at 5 miles per hour. We do have an isolated chance of some precipitation, but I think we'll remain pretty dry. Just underneath that thicker cloud cover, that's what we're currently seeing. The clouds are continuing to stream in from the west-southwest, but over the next several hours, they're going to continue to break up, especially after the 10 o'clock hour. And for this evening from 6 to 9 p.m., temperatures are going to fall from the upper 40s to the low 40s, around 41 degrees, and our winds are going to remain pretty light out there. And for tonight, we're expecting a low temperature of 38 degrees, partly cloudy skies, especially after 10 p.m., and a northeast wind at 5 miles per hour. And for tomorrow, mostly cloudy skies out there with a stray afternoon thunderstorm possible. I think most of us will remain dry. Our winds will be from the east at 10 to 15 miles per hour, and our extended forecast. This is a pretty wild forecast. Warming up to 85 on Thursday. That's when our first strong cold front is going to push through. And with that, we do have some chances of some severe thunderstorms possibly. So you'll definitely want to stay tuned for Thursday. And then a lot colder on Friday with a high of only 46. But then if you notice, a really active pattern starts back up, especially Sunday, where temperatures are going to remain pretty cold. And we could be expecting an Arctic cold blast coming through Sunday night. And with that, it could bring us a chance for some rain and even snow. It's too early to say how much snow we'll have, but we could be expecting anywhere from possibly an inch or a little more depending on how this cold air mass settles in. But that is all we have for you tonight. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here next week.